back, and there was a very large bullet in it.
Oh my, what a witness he was. I mean, you know, you can tell how good he is at what he does, just the way he told that story, that horrific story, and just drew you in. And you really felt something for the victim, didn't you? For Helena Hutchins, the woman who died. Of course, Joel Souza, he's a victim. He's a surviving victim. They both are victims. But just the way he talked about Helena, and we know this charge it's pertaining to Helena, this involuntary manslaughter charge that Hannah Gutierrez is facing. So let's talk about it more. Let's talk more about his testimony in the case as a whole. I want to bring back in law enforcement expert Sonny Slaughter and welcome in former South Carolina solicitor and SLED agent attorney Tommy Pope. Great to have you both on the show this Monday. Oh boy, what a witness, huh? I know you both were thinking it watching Joel Souza, my gosh. Tommy, you know, when you're a prosecutor and you get a witness like that, what a dream a guy like that is. Talk to me about your thoughts watching his testimony, please.
I think it was credible in its presentation. You know, he really wasn't vindictive toward the defendant. He was just telling it as it happened. And like you said, it had a depth of emotion. He was truly recalling to the best of his ability. If he didn't, you know, he wasn't evasive on anything. He didn't try to fill anything in. One thing that popped in that I had not seen before that was interesting to me, I always was under the impression they were shooting a scene when the shooting took place. But apparently, from what I'm hearing him, when he was talking about other people around him, he's trying to look at the camera angle. They weren't shooting yet when the discharge took place, which I think will really come to bear when Alec Baldwin is tried later on, from the fact that he did something with the gun while they're getting ready, not, you know, he was shooting like he would have been in a scene. And so that, you know, if he was shooting in a scene, it would put it off more on the armorer. But I think he's got a little part to play now too. You know, the whole debate of whether he cocked it or didn't. I think that'll come up in the next trial.
Tommy, I love that. That's a really great point. I know Sonny's not. I know you agree as well, my friend. Let's talk about it. You both are very experienced with firearms. You understand the mechanics. And here, when you think back to it, why was it even loaded with anything if he didn't need, you know, to have it was a cross draw he was practicing. So, you know, great point, Tommy. Sonny, please, what would you like to add to that?
Tommy said almost everything that I was thinking. I was just here nodding and amen.
I saw you nodding. I knew you liked it. Yeah.
I was thinking, okay, he did not need it. What exactly were they doing? I don't think that we should give, now that we are in the trial, give Alec Baldwin any leeway for what his culpability and capability on the set. This was such a strong witness. I could feel the emotion, as you were saying, Julie. He was just in total recall, and he said this could not have happened. This couldn't have happened. He was in such disbelief outside of his own pain and horror. I think he is credible, he is capable, and he provides a lens that we did not have before. Like Tommy said, you know, I didn't catch that before, that they were not even shooting a scene. So why was the gun out? Why did anybody have it at all? This was not queued up, so I'm not sure for this was not queued up for anything specific. So now we have more, I have more questions, and I hope the public does too.
Right, Sonny. You know, and one of the biggest, I'm sure, is the fact that there were live rounds on the set. I mean, both of you, you know, who carry firearms in your law enforcement roles, I mean, you have to be horrified hearing this, that live rounds got on that movie set. I've got a clip from this lead investigator, and he's talking about the moment when he looked at that messy, filthy prop cart and spotted the live rounds. Let's watch.
Throughout your investigation, was it your understanding that the rounds that were taken out of the gun after the shooting were left on the prop cart?
That was my understanding because of the statement Hannah had made, that when she went to check that weapon to see what was inside of it, that she did it over that prop cart.
Okay, and along those lines, where was the spent casing that we've now heard testimony was fired from this gun, where was that spent casing found?
It was on top of the prop cart.
Okay.
So evidence is being moved around, isn't it, Tommy Pope? My gosh, I mean, when I heard that Sarah Zachary the other day, the prop master who says, who admits right after the shooting, she goes and she starts dumping rounds, throwing them away, and then calls up Seth Kenney, to tell him about it. I mean, this is just unbelievable. Tommy, your thoughts, please.
We've talked previously. I mean, she is extremely unprofessional. I think she probably had the job because of her dad and his reputation. And I just don't think she was equipped to handle the job. I mean, hopefully for those guys, they're never dealing with a crime scene. But, rule number one, leave everything as it is and let law enforcement figure it out. She wasn't doing that. It was a sloppiness. I'm still interested to try to understand where the case, the live rounds came from. And hopefully that'll be played out. Actually, one of your courties emailed me and said they had heard they were practice shooting or target shooting maybe during the lunch break, which would make perfect sense if that is in fact the case. But the mystery to me is, where did these rounds come from?
Right, Tommy. And I can say that law enforcement did investigate that and found no evidence of it, but that was a widely talked about theory that came out, and you could see why, right? Oh, they must have been targeted. If there were live rounds, what other purpose would they be using the rounds for? But so great question from the Cordy that emailed you, our fellow Cordy. Tommy and Sonny, I'm so glad we have you both on the show. Stand by kindly, if you would, please. We got to hit a break. When we come back, we'll hear how Director Joel Souza handles the cross-examination when he's questioned about his knowledge surrounding Hannah Gutierrez's involvement on the set.
The first parents in America to be charged in a mass school shooting.
Involuntary manslaughter and 4 counts of it.
The gun recovered from the shooter was the same gun that was purchased by his father.
Jennifer was found guilty.
Who is responsible for storing the gun?
Now the school shooter's father is set to stand trial.
My husband is.
The school shooter dad trial. Live coverage this week following jury selection on Court TV.